I feel like there's quite a lot of things you can be, and I mean, I don't know about you guys, but personally, I've, at least for the past few years, had a fear that kind of came to dominate me, which was like the fear of being a bad person. As stupid as that might seem, I just got a notification. But yeah, in that process, though, it took me a while, but I sort of started to realize that I've been kind of really judgmental as a person. And I sort of feel like now, with a little more clarity of mind than a younger me, even though, I'm like freaking 16. But yeah, now I feel like being judgmental is like kind of one of the worst things somebody can be, it's really annoying. And it's, at least personally, I feel like I've sort of been molded by a fear of shame, or like a lack of acceptance, I guess. I guess part of it might come from the fact that like I don't know if this is like really true, or if it's like kind of stereotypy, but I feel like I grew up in an Asian household, and I feel like at least in East Asia, it's kind of a shame-based culture. I heard What If Alt Hist say that, and while I don't agree with a lot of his takes, I feel like this one is sort of true. So like, whereas, in like the West and stuff, like in the US, most of the time it's pretty, he says it's a more guilt-based culture, whereas in Asia, East Asia, it's more of a shame-based culture. And I feel like that, yeah, that sort of makes sense, and I guess I've sort of always had a fear of saying something that doesn't really make sense, or saying something that just isn't right, or saying something that isn't really accepted by everybody else. And over the years, I guess I've sort of like refined myself into like an acceptance machine, in that like I feel like most of the time, if you drop me into a group of some other people, I can either make myself enough like them that they'll not like me, but like not like me, if that makes sense, or just like blend in enough to the point where they don't really notice me. I mean, yeah, I guess I've still had like my own personality intact, but it's just like whenever I'm in a group setting, that's just how I am, I guess. And I guess that's all come from a fear of being judgmental, and it's like a lot of stuff I do, or I want to do, I just don't, because I'm scared that other people are going to judge me for it, even just like random strangers. And I guess my first step in sort of freeing myself from that process, ooh, look, advanced terminology, it's not really that advanced, but my first step in sort of like realizing that this belief was wrong is, this doesn't apply to everywhere, obviously, but I live in New York, so whenever I pass somebody on the street, or somebody sees me do something, I can just tell myself like, oh, I'm probably never going to see that person again in my life. That's kind of weird now, because if I like ride in a taxi or something and have a good conversation with the driver, which pretty much never happens, I think it's only happened like 3 times in my life. Yeah, and most of the time it's just like the driver starts asking me stuff, and I just like talk back a little bit. But yeah, then when I leave the car, I'm like, oh, I'm probably never gonna see that person in my life. Or like on the bus or something, or I'm just like walking around and I see somebody. I don't know if this happens to anybody else, but when I'm like running, for example, I run cross country, and I'm like running, either in Central Park or just like by the river. Sometimes I end up just running next to, or behind, or in front of somebody else for a while, and maybe like not even that long, maybe like 10-20 minutes tops. And when I peel away from them, it's kind of weird. I feel like we sort of bonded in a way, if that makes sense. And then I have to like remind myself like, oh, I'm probably never gonna see that person again, and it's a little bit sad. But also, you know, it's a little relieving, because if I say something really stupid in public or do something really dumb in public, I'm probably never gonna see that person again. Or if I go to a dance with some people from some other school, and I say something dumb, or like I try to talk to a girl or something from some other school, or I just like, I don't know, do something really stupid. Like, obviously, yeah, the people from my school who also go there, you know, they're gonna see me, and I'm still gonna look dumb. But like, if I talk to somebody or do something, you know, with somebody outside of like my school, I'm probably never gonna see that person again. You know what I mean? And I guess recently that sort of gotten me into a couple problems. None of them like actually big problems, just like problems, because it turns out that I did end up seeing some of them again, which was a little awkward. But yeah, it still, you know, freed me a little bit and whatnot. But yeah, you know, just guess that's just the end of my rant. Thanks for watching. Don't be so judgmental. You know, if you want more advice from a 16-year-old and life stories and stuff, you could subscribe or not. Yeah, it's okay. I probably outstayed my welcome. Thanks for watching. Only 3% watched to the end, so if you want to subscribe, you know, you're one of the 3% who already watched to the end. You might as well, you know. Yeah, that's enough talking. Thanks for watching. Goodbye.